Welcome to the Katie and Carter Show. I'm Carter.
I'm Katie.
And,
What's up, guys?
Yeah, it's football. Yeah. So, we're going to start off some trivia. Katie,
Yes.
what head coach has a national championship at LSU and Alabama?
My first instinct is to go with Nick Saban because I know he was at LSU for 5 years, and then obviously his national title at Alabama. So I think I'm going to go with Nick Saban, but I don't know if that's right. What's the answer?
Check. That's right. Good job.
A genius. Okay, my trivia question is, who was the first player drafted in the first NFL draft in 1936?
The baby.
Duh, baby.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is incorrect, Carter White. It was Jay Berwinger,
Wrong.
whoever that man is, but he was the first indeed. So we can move right into our segment 1, which is recapping our Take Your Picks from last week. Carter can go first.
All right, so Alabama, Florida, right? Wanted to cry a little bit. Bama started off strong, scored 3 drives in a row, and then I don't really know what happened. I guess they just died.
You know, I really think this is the first time we have seen Alabama struggle in such a long time. I honestly cannot remember. Well, obviously I can. Like, let's think back to in previous years.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen them struggle like that with the team in so long. Their offense just wasn't, honestly, like,
Everything was not on.
everything. I don't know what it was. I don't know who's going to get in trouble for that. I don't know if it's more of a player thing or a coach's schemes kind of thing. I don't know what they're calling. Obviously, I'm not on the team. But they're going to have to make some big adjustments going into the rest of the week and the rest of their season because they're obviously going to play maybe better teams than Florida. I don't know, though. We're going to have to just see. Proud of Florida. I obviously had Alabama. I didn't know how the game was going to turn out. But that was a very close game. Anybody that was watching really didn't know how it was going to end up, so that was crazy.
Yeah, I don't really know. Bama, their defense just kind of fell apart. They couldn't play. They allowed 200-plus rushing yards. We can't really do that. Florida just played really well in general, even with Emory Jones playing quarterback. I think the environment itself was a giant factor. The Swamp, 100,000 strong.
They
First
were
time they
stout.
played.
Oh, my gosh. There was so many people there. There was so much support. Anybody that saw, like, videos from it, it was
Yeah.
crazy. It really was. I think the atmosphere did have a lot to do with how the game was
Because
going.
it's the first time they've played in a crowd or a big crowd since
Yeah.
It's the first time ever for some players like Bryce Young.
Yeah. Especially with COVID and everything, it just makes games and the atmosphere at the game so different.
Yeah.
And obviously everybody trying to maintain distance and wearing masks and stuff. But it was crazy that they were able to have a turnout like that. Because, I mean, just under a year ago, we didn't know what our seasons were going to look like and how many people were going to show up. So that was very interesting. Moving to our next, recapping our Take Your Picks, we have Penn State and Auburn. Obviously, I had Auburn, and I was a little bit surprised at the turnout, but it's all right. I'm still low-key an Auburn fan at heart, but don't tell my mom that. She is an Alabama fan. What are your thoughts on?
Well, had Penn State, so far I'm 2-0 in picks. Really proud of myself. But last week I did that too, and then I became 3-2, or 2-3. So I don't know. But yeah, I had Penn State winning. I thought Auburn's a really good team, but Penn State, I don't know. Their defense is really good. They're testing against Wisconsin. I thought it'd be close, but Auburn's offense hyped all the way up there.
Yeah.
And they played well, but Penn State just kind of
Snuck
it
it
was a
out from
close
under
game,
them.
yeah.
It was a close game, obviously,
Auburn had a
but
close drive at the end, and Penn State shut it down. But it was a
Yeah.
really good game. In the atmosphere again, whiteout once a year.
yeah, wide out. Oh my goodness, they always go all out for their wide out. And like, if you saw videos from the stadium, like
It was
literally
crazy.
everybody.
It was all white.
Yeah, it was
Cool.
crazy. Moving on to Arizona State versus BYU. Y'all know how I feel about the smaller colleges and them and their programs. And like, all I want is to see like a smaller college or like one that's not on top to come out and just blow everybody up. I love when that happens. I really live for it. And so I'm happy with BYU for being Arizona State. Now, that
Yeah.
wasn't very, but you know, I'm still proud of them.
Yeah, I think I'm actually really surprised by BYU. I thought with the loss of Zach Wilson and their coach, I thought they were going to dim it down.
Yeah.
Kind of like LSU did. They lost Joe Brady and they lost Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow went quarterback for the Bengals now, and Joe Brady's the offensive coordinator of the Panthers. So I thought with the same thing happening to BYU, especially with BYU not having even as much talent as LSU, that Like if LSU has all the talent in the world, one of the best teams ever in college football, and then they go and don't even have I don't think they even had a winning season.
I know, that's so disappointing for them to watch like a program go from being so great and being on top to just like falling apart.
Yeah.
And that brings me back to Alabama and like their program, and obviously they're at the top right now. But games like this Florida game and just like watching their program, that makes you fear for like their program in the future. Maybe not in 5 years, maybe not in 10, but what about 20? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of interesting to think about and like look at that and like what you're saying about LSU and them losing their coaches, like what happens whenever Nick Saban retires? Like what? Now, obviously, he's not going to anytime soon. Like he's happy where he's at, and obviously he keeps getting renewed for another 40 years or whatever. So he's not going anywhere. But it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy to think about and like watch a program die out, and it's just scary to think about for the future for sure. Moving into Georgia and South Carolina, I really liked Georgia. I think their defense is crazy. I think that they play so hard and so well. So I think every time anybody goes up against Georgia, it's a good game. Their program has been good for a really long time. Their defensive coordinator is crazy. Dan Lanning? Yeah, I believe that's correct. But he's crazy. Anyways, but they're really, really good. So do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm happy for Georgia because they've struggled in the past. I mean, not struggle, but they're up there, but they can't get. It's like they have one step to go every year, and they can't get up it.
Yeah, it's like they're always the number 2. You know what I mean? Like they're always number 2, and they're just fighting for that win. Do you watch Amazing Race? Okay, so I watch Amazing Race, and there's always a team or a group that always finishes second, and they like count up all their second wins, and normally they're the group that ends up going in the top 3, and they're the ones that normally end up winning. So hopefully in the future, Georgia can come out from that number 2 position and just work their way towards the top.
Yeah, I think if they can get their offense together, I mean, that defense itself will already score points for them. So if they can get an offense together, they have Stetson Bennett and other dude, don't remember his name anymore, he's not important. But I think with either of them, if they can get their offense down and stay healthy, if they can produce points, they'll win. Because their defense is it's basically Alabama's defense from the old.
Yeah. I think if they could produce as good of an offense as they can a defense, I mean, they would be unstoppable. They would be crazy. So moving into UCLA and their game, I obviously had UCLA. I was a little disappointed with the outcome, but obviously like a very close game. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, when we talked about it last week, we had Fresno State and UCLA. I mean, that's who we were playing, but Fresno State, they barely lost to Oregon. So we knew that they were a good team coming into it. Yeah. So if they could almost beat Oregon, who beat Ohio State, then we said they had a good chance to win, and they did on a final second Hail Mary to win it by 3 points.
I know, but that game was so close, and so it just kind of puts in perspective how crazy it is this year, with Oregon beating Ohio State, and that's crazy because Ohio State's had a good program for so many years, but I love to see Ohio State fail. Anyways, so moving on.
Yeah, so I think UCLA will be fine in the future. Chip Kelly was building there. They beat LSU, which I mean it's not a compliment anymore, but yeah, I think they'll be all right. Love, hate.
Love, hate. Would you like to start out, Carter White?
Yeah. So I love Georgia. Yeah, that's a given.
Yeah, we just talked about how we love Georgia, and I don't know, their defensive coordinator, Dan, he's insane. He's so good. He's done so many good things for their program. And, I'm just really happy for them. And, like we talked about, I'd just really like to see them move out of that number 2 position. Do I think they're going to do it? I don't know. I don't know if this is their year. I don't know if their program's dying off. I don't know if they're getting better. But I think if they can produce as good of an offense as they can a defense, then they'll definitely come out on top. Now, also, I would like to talk about my love for Michigan State and tell our viewers I am a Michigan fan. I am a Wolverine. Now, for the Michigan fans out there, I don't want to get too excited and predict anything big happening because we haven't played anyone. We haven't played anybody good. So I'm really hoping we can get somebody to challenge them and see how we're doing. Last year I was calling for Harbaugh's head. I didn't think that he was a good coach. I think we needed him out of there, but they renewed his contract and he's staying. So I really hope that he can do something for us this year and maybe do something a little bit better than he has in the past because they used to be so good and they used to have such a good program, and I hope that he can build that up again so I can kind of have pride in my team. So we can move on to the hates, I guess.
Yeah, sounds good. So, hey, I have a lot, honestly. Everyone's just making me really mad. I think I'm gonna go with, I guess A&M, honestly.
You hate A&M?
Yeah, I mean,
For why?
honestly, they're just like they're hyped up last year. I mean, they had Kellen Mond last year who left, but A&M's they just, I don't know. Like last year, everyone was saying, oh, you know, they should be in the playoffs instead of whoever it was. I think it was Oklahoma or I think it was Notre Dame. I don't know. They
It
said
might have been
something.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think they said A&M should be there instead of Notre Dame because their only loss was to Bama. So this year coming in, I thought they were going to go great. Jimbo Fisher was leading them down there on the field as coach. So I thought they were going to play well. And I like A&M.
Do you know how many people they lost last year?
Just Kellen Mond that I know of. But I think they definitely lost more. I just don't know them.
Well, yeah, they probably lost a lot more. And I think that's something really to take into account as you move into a new season with different players is a lot of them lose so much talent.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to replace that with new talent, especially whenever like you have big schools that people are wanting to go to, even not maybe to play on. I feel a lot of the times that good players will go and sit the bench at a good school, then go to a smaller school and work their way up. I really think if I was a boy and I played football and I was good at football, I think that's what I would do. I'd probably go to a smaller school and try and work them up. But we already know how I feel about smaller programs and smaller schools. So.
Because Kellen Mond, they tried to replace him with Haynes King. Kellen Mond's already been there. I felt like he was there for 10 years, honestly. He's been there for so long, or he was there for so long, not anymore. But like he just knew the system so well, and they replaced him with Haynes King, who's never played for A&M, and then he goes and I think it's something with his leg. I guess he'll get hurt. So they got replaced by some dude's name that I can't pronounce. But yeah, I mean they barely beat Colorado. They beat Colorado 10-7, and then at halftime they only were beating Kent State by 10-7, which they later won by it's like 41-7 or something at the end.
Embarrassing.
But at halftime, right? And I think they're missing their starting quarterback, and they play Arkansas this week. I think it'll be a close game as long as Arkansas can keep a run game going.
Yeah. So moving into my hates, I don't have a lot. I don't strongly hate anybody. I either feel indifferent, I really like them, or I hate them. And so the only school I really don't think that I like is Ohio State. I think that's pretty much it, honestly. I really don't think there's another school I particularly don't like. This might be kind of controversial, but I kind of want to see Alabama choke. Like,
Wow.
I'm not going to lie. They've been on the top of their program for so long, and I'd like to see somebody else step up and beat them. Like, it's going to be such a moment. Like, it's going to be the end of an era. Like, it's going to be crazy. You know what I mean?
Well,
But also at the same time, like, there's a lot of players, and they're working really hard to succeed, and they're doing a lot of things behind the scenes. So I don't, like, wish that on them because, you know, good for them. They've been working up this program. They're doing really well. But at the same time, like, low-key want to see Georgia or somebody come up there and just, like, blow their socks off. Then everybody would be like, what? But so I don't hate Alabama. I don't want to say that because I like Alabama. But do I want to see somebody step up into that top position?
Yeah.
Maybe. So that'll be something for me to continue to think about as the season progresses. But Ohio State for sure. I'm really happy that they're not doing amazing this season. And so it's very interesting to watch.
Michigan fan. Wow.
Yeah.
So, contender pretenders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's a pretender? Who's not going to playoffs? And who do you think can contend and go to playoffs? Who do you think?
I definitely think Ohio State is obviously a pretender. Alabama is not. They're the real deal. They're coming in there. I fear for, Georgia. Obviously, I just don't know. I don't know who I have in there. What do you think?
Well, for my contenders, obviously Georgia, Alabama, like just the obvious ones, but a couple sleepers, I think. I have one of them. I have Michigan State.
Yeah.
Now, while they're in a very strong division, it seems this year, even with Ohio State playing like they're blind and deaf and everything else. But I think Michigan has a really good chance here. I mean, they have Michigan State. I mean, they are Michigan State, but they have to go against Penn State. They have Penn State in their division.
Yeah.
They have Iowa. They have Ohio State. They have Michigan. So they have a good bit of teams that are actually playing somewhat well.
I'm really interested to see the Michigan State game. I think
Yeah,
that's going to be
too.
a really good game. I think that's going to really, like, kind of define where Michigan's at.
I think that's going to define both of them, honestly.
I agree. I think that's going to be a huge game. I'm going to be watching that, obviously, because I'm
Yeah,
a
I am
Michigan
too.
fan. But we'll be watching that, and we'll discuss that whenever they play. We have several weeks. How long until they play? Do you know? 3 weeks?
I think it's a little longer than that. I just know that Michigan State, down the road, they have to play Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State all within a 5-week period. They play Ohio State, and they have like 2 bozos, and then they go and play Ohio
Yeah.
State, Penn State.
I
Or
believe this
Michigan
week.
State.
I believe this week that we're playing Rutgers. So we
Yeah.
obviously, if we should beat them, we should. Now, in the
Should, yeah.
past, have we? I don't want to answer, but we'll have to see how that works.
Yeah,
we
Rutgers
should
is pretty
blow
bad.
them out, but we'll have to see how that works. And I don't want to get too excited here because I've been let down in the past, unfortunately. So I kind of want to see where we're gonna go this season, and then I'll get excited towards the end after we play, like in that 5-week period after we play all of those teams.
Yeah. So, pretenders, right?
hmm
For my pretenders, once again, just like my hates, there's a lot. I think Oklahoma,
Oklahoma is for sure
I think they're a
pretender.
pretender. Spencer
I
Rattler,
agree.
he was coming out of QB11. He was basically described to be Jesus reincarnated, Jesus walking on water. He's coming to save the day. Oklahoma's winning a championship.
I know.
For the 4th year in a row, they're not going to get blown out by LSU, Alabama, whoever they're playing. They're not going to lose. And Spencer
Yeah.
Rattler has played like a high school
Crap.
Bishop Sycamore team.
Oh my goodness. I agree. I saw so much stuff about how Oklahoma was going to be the real deal, and I
Yeah.
was actually kind of looking out for him. And I was like, all right, like that's embarrassing. I really don't think you should talk up your program and then go out there playing like that.
Yeah, I think Lincoln Riley's a good coach, even though he's young.
Oh yeah, I think they have great coaching over there. I don't know how I feel about their quarterback. I don't know if he's all that great.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with Rattler. They've barely beat the past 2 teams. They barely beat Tulane and Nebraska. How do you almost lose to Tulane and Nebraska?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know. It's not the 80s, but yeah. So take your pick.
This week we have Notre Dame versus Wisconsin. I'm going to go with Wisconsin here. I don't know what it is about Notre Dame. I don't know if I like Notre Dame or not. I can't decide. Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
All right, so I have Wisconsin.
Do
just
I
like
say
you.
it weird?
Notre?
Notre Dame.
Notre?
Notre Dame.
I don't know.
I thought I said it fine.
But yeah, I have Wisconsin winning that game too. Notre Dame almost
He
lost
said
to
the
Florida
same
State.
way I did.
Florida State lost to an FCS team, so basically an FCS team almost beat Notre Dame, if you look at it that way. So I think
Yeah.
Wisconsin, I mean, they barely lost to Penn State. So I think if they play well, even though Notre Dame has Wisconsin's quarterback from last year who transferred over, I think Notre
Mhm.
Dame, unless they can pull something together and fix whatever's going
That's
on.
kind of
over
a
there.
rivalry right there with their QB going
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That's going to be kind of interesting. I wonder if there's going to be stuff about that or if they're going to talk to him about things. That'll be interesting to watch the interviews after the game. Next, we have Texas A&M and Arkansas.
Yeah.
I don't have any strong opinion over that one.
I'm really excited for this. If you would have asked me this last year, right? If this was a game that I
Yeah.
was talking about, if we're talking about this last year tense, A&M all the way, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
A&M's kinda
right.
on. But now A&M has barely beat some random teams. Arkansas has blown out Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if it was in Fayetteville,
Yeah.
then it'd be a better outcome for Arkansas, would have a better chance. But since
Mhm.
Jerry Jones owns it for the whatever bowls over there in Dallas, it's at a neutral site, I'm pretty sure. I still think Arkansas has a chance to win here. I have them winning. I want to pick the underdog. I think a lot of people have Arkansas winning just
Mhm.
because of how they played against Texas. But when you look at Texas, they kind of dwindled down.
I don't really care about A&M or Arkansas, really. So I think I'm going to go with Arkansas here.
I am too. I think Arkansas, as long as they can have a run game, and if they're not forced to pass, if they can pass when they want to, they're not be forced into bad decisions. Because that's what led them to almost lose to Rice. They didn't have a run game, so they were forced to pass, and they couldn't pass the ball. So if they have a run game, then they can choose when to pass, and they won't be forced, and they'll be all right, I think.
Awesome. I think next we have UCLA and Stanford.
Yeah. Who
Do you know what I'm going to say?
What?
Yes.
Stanford.
Yes.
Why?
Because you know how I feel about the small programs. I really just want to see Stanford come out there and play like amazing and just like blow them out. That would be awesome. I'd be like, yes.
Yeah, so I think even after Stanford, they're unranked. UCLA is. I think UCLA's coming after a loss to a good Fresno team. I
Yeah.
think Stanford after blowing out USC, which is not that good anymore.
Maybe they'll come in there with some confidence. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have McCaffrey anymore. They're not the powerhouse like they were a couple years ago when they were number 5 in the nation or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think they can pull something together. Kansas State, Oklahoma State's our next one. You got anyone on that?
I'm going to say Oklahoma State on this, but I don't have a strong opinion on this either.
Yeah, I think this is really hard for me to pick. I haven't really picked anyone yet, so I'm going to pick it right now. I think, I don't know. I'm going to say Oklahoma State.
Boom.
Kansas State just lost their starting quarterback last week, and Oklahoma State
I
has
think
struggled to
I
score
think
all
that's
season.
going to hurt them for sure. I think they're going to go into this game completely unprepared. They've only had a week of practices to get it together.
Yeah.
So I really think they're going to struggle without their quarterback. I think they're going to be throwing a random guy in there. I think it's going to be chaotic. I think Oklahoma is going to play pretty well.
I think it'll be a decent game, but Oklahoma State struggled to score all season. Kansas State lost their quarterback. So we'll see how their backup can come in, how he'll play. But I think it'll be a close game or not. I don't really know. And
Go
final
Oklahoma
game,
State.
Nebraska, Cornhuskers versus Michigan State.
Man, I kind of want Nebraska to win.
Okay, well, you're a Michigan fan. Your opinion is invalid.
Well, I don't know. Well, obviously, I'm trying to think unbiasedly here, and if I feel like if I was being unbiased, I might say Michigan State, but I kind of want Nebraska.
I have Michigan State win this.
That's
Uh,
no.
I know that's hard for you to hear as a
Yeah,
Michigan
it is.
fan. I know it's hard to probably be a Michigan fan, too.
Yeah, it is actually really hard.
But, I mean, Michigan State, they have Kenneth Walker. He has 57 rush attempts this year. Already has almost 500 yards. He has 493. He averages 8.6 yards a carry. So I think if Michigan State have a monster run game like they have previously, I think they'll be able to run through Nebraska. But Oklahoma struggled. But then it's kind of like, how good is Oklahoma?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Guys,
I'm so happy y'all came for this week's segment. My name is Katie Griffin, and I'm here with Carter White, and this is the Katie and Carter Show. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.